Well, I did get a story here.
Okay.
CMS fan Pat Daniel.
All right.
He said, Mr. Neely and or Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Wow. This guy has some balls and fuck you money.
Okay.
They like that when we use that term about having fuck you money.
Yeah, wish I had some.
Hail and kill, fuck you, pal, and hand jobs all night long.
All right.
All right, so he sent over the story.
Okay.
Famous investor Marc Faber goes nuclear on political correctness.
Okay. Marc Faber?
Faber.
I don't know who that is.
Marc Faber.
He has fuck you money, so he must have done something.
Well, he's a big Wall Street guy, big investor guy.
Okay.
He's got a lot of money.
All right.
Marc Faber, the market's prognosticator, known as Mr. Doom, has resigned his board seats at the Sprott Inc., Sprott,
Okay.
Ivanhoe Mines Limited, and Nova Gold Resources Inc. on Tuesday after his latest newsletter ignited international outrage.
Oh, boy.
With the publication of a litany of inflammatory and racist comments.
All right.
So this guy had a lot of money. Said, you know
Right.
what? I don't need these board seats.
Yeah.
I don't need to sit here on the board and collect $1 million, $2, $3, $4 million a year just because I sat on the board.
Okay.
So he goes on to say, thank God white people populated America and not the blacks, he wrote. He wrote, Mr. Faber, who is the managing director with investment advisory and fund management firm Marc Faber Limited,
Right.
in his latest monthly newsletter. Otherwise, the U.S. would look like Zimbabwe, which it might look like one day anyway. But at least Americans enjoyed 200 years in the economic and political sun under a white majority.
Okay. He wrote this and put this out in public?
He put this on his newsletter.
Mm.
In the publication, Mr. Faber was also highly critical of the removal of the Confederate statues in the United States. An issue that generated much controversy after white supremacists marched in Charlottesville, Virginia in the summer to protest the city's plans to take them down.
Right.
The very same people who he wrote of the U.S. liberals are now disturbed by statues of honorable people whose only crime was to defend what all societies had done for more than 5,000 years. Keep a part of the population enslaved.
Wow.
In the newsletter, the 71-year-old Mr. Faber claimed he is not a racist, but wrote that the reality is, no matter how politically incorrect, needs to be spelled out.
Okay.
If stating some historical facts makes me a racist, then I suppose I'm a racist. That's the Chris Aiken philosophy.
Yep.
Mr. Faber stated, later told Bloomberg News Service in an email, Mr. Faber did not respond to the Globe and the Mail's request for comment. Hours after his newsletter comments were made public, Toronto-based asset manager Sprott, S-P-R-O-T-T, asked Mr. Faber to step down from its board of directors, a position he had held since 2010.
Okay.
Recent comments by Dr. Faber are deeply disappointing.
Oh, that's terrible.
They're deeply disappointing.
You know what? If I was Dr. Faber and I'm looking right now and his net worth is about $20 billion.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be too worried about losing my board seat at Sprott.
Disappointed!
Nah, I think I'd be okay with I think I'd take my $20 billion and go home.
Right.
I'd be fine with that.
Recent comments by Dr. Faber are deeply disappointing and are completely contradictory with the views of Sprott and its employees, said Peter Graskoff, CEO of Sprott, the precious metals asset manager, in a release. We pride ourselves on being a diverse organization. There we go with the diverse again. And commits of this or comments of this sort will not be tolerated.
Yeah, pal.
Through a spokesperson, Mr. Graspoff declined further comment.
Right.
In a release late Tuesday, Ivanhoe Mines, which had employed Mr. Faber as a director since 2004, said it disagrees with and deplores the personally held views about race that Mr. Faber had published. The Vancouver-based international mining company, which has co-founded by mining financier Robert Friedland, said it had requested and accepted Mr. Faber's resignation. Nova Gold also announced in a release on Tuesday that Mr. Faber had resigned as the director. He had served on the board of the Vancouver-based company, which has a gold project in Alaska since 2010. In a regulatory filing earlier this year, Nova Gold said it benefited from Mr. Faber's services because of his vast knowledge of economics, global market trends, precious metals, and commodities.
Wow.
Mr. Faber was born in Switzerland but is now based in Thailand. He worked as a managing director with the defunct U.S. investment bank Drexel Burnham Lambert from 1978 to 1990.
Okay.
At one time, Drexel Burnham was the junk bond king of Wall Street.
Well, nice. So he made all his money from stupid people without ever having to invest anything.
Yeah, more or less.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Dude, if you had 20 billion and you were 70 years old, is there even the slightest chance you'd be still working?
No, of course not. But, you know, these guys who've done this all their life, and the thing is, I mean, how much work is there to, and it's the companies in the board of directors that benefit. If you're a successful person in life that is an investor, someone who has public notoriety, I'm just going to throw one guy out, and I'm not using him because I know anything about it. I'm just using him as an example. Tommy Lasorda.
Okay.
Everybody knows who Tommy Lasorda is. He's the longtime manager of the LA Dodgers.
Yeah.
If Tommy Lasorda was a member of a board, would that hold any gravitas for that company?
Yeah, I guess it would. Some.
Not that he's, like an investing genius or something.
Yeah.
But the question is especially with people who are impressed with notoriety and fame, holy shit, Tommy Lasorda is a part of the board of directors.
Okay.
Let's use somebody more current. Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
Or let's use Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is one of the members of a board of directors of Sprott Incorporated.
Okay.
A lot of people go, well, Michael Jordan was a very successful basketball player.
Right.
And he's worth buku bucks.
Right.
What does he know about Sprott that we don't?
Okay. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? So it's beneficial to a company to allow a Michael Jordan to sit on their board of directors, even though his duties are very minimal.
Right.
Because it's not like he goes to work every day as a member of a board of directors.
Right. He probably comes in one meeting a year.
That's it. But then he'll collect a salary of $3-4 million a year just because he sits on the board of directors, and basically what that boils down to is I'm letting you use my name.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
So this guy, this Faber guy, I'm sure he's well known in the investment circles.
Sure.
So knowing, let's just go with a fictional character. Let's go with the guy on Wall Street, Greco.
Okay.
You know, he was a big trader in the movie, or even the guy, the Wolf of Wall Street guy.
Yeah.
Before he got busted.
Mm-hmm.
He was a player, right?
Right, sure.
And if this guy, what was his name?
I don't remember. Wolf of Wall Street? Wolf of Wall Street. Main character is Donnie Azoff.
Was that who he was?
Well, that's Jonah Hill's guy. Wait a minute. Leo DiCaprio. Jordan Belfort.
Yeah, there you go. If Jordan Belfort, who was very successful in Wall Street prior to being, busted,
yeah,
was sitting on the board of directors of any Wall Street traded firm,
right,
and that was well known. Mm-hmm. Geez, what does Jordan Belfort know about Widgets Incorporated that we don't know?
Yeah, bye.
Why would he be sitting on that board of directors unless, of course, it was a profitable venture?
Right, and then people would buy the stock.
He wouldn't throw his name in the ring unless it was, a reputable company that had potential.
Right.
And that's what these guys do.
Right. Yeah, I guess. Here, I'm thinking old guy's packing his lunch and going to work.
No, these guys don't do that.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
So they can publish their quarterly report and say, oh, this was distributed to Jordan Belfort and Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson and whomever other name
right
you could throw out there, and they go, oh, holy shit, they got so and so sits on that board.
Right. No, you're right.
So they're renting out their name.
I get it.
So for these companies to lose this Faber guy, he was a no good son of a bitch anyway. Fuck that guy.
Right.
Yeah, we paid him $4 million a year to use his name. Mm-hmm. He doesn't represent us.
Yeah. But at this point, he don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but on the back of his, board membership over the last 7 years, we profited $15 billion.
Right.
Because people trusted us because he was a well-known guy.
Right.
So that's how that works.
Yeah.
So anyway, there you go.
All right. Well, good on Mr. Faber here.
So Faber, he's got all of his money. He's 70 years old. He's got nothing left to lose. And he's just like, you know what? I'm sick of this fucking shit.
So he goes out with a mighty fuck you, pal.
Yeah. It's like the blacks could have never been this successful. Screw that guy. Screw those guys.
Yeah, that's a bit much there.
Well, regardless, but that's what he did. That's what he said.
Yeah, that is what he said.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Did you check Snopes on that one?
No, I did not check Snopes on that one. I'm gonna go ahead and think that one is probably real.
Yeah, did that Dr. Faber really say that?
Well, there's a bunch of stuff with Dr. Faber there. Yeah. Because I was looking up his net worth, and a bunch of that story came up like 30 times.
Of course.
I'm thinking that's probably real.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm sick of this bullshit.
Yep, no doubt.
I'm out. I got $10 billion to my name.
Yeah.
I don't have to save myself.
I'm going to go travel and fuck bitches until I die.
What a life, man.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I love it. All right, well, let's play a couple of tunes.
All right.
What do you know about amps to 11?
They're good. They're heavy. Not heavy, but they're more like kind of like stoner, but fast stoner.
All right. Well, do you think a band that takes its name Amps to 11 off of Spinal Tap, do you think that they owe a residual of any kind?
Nah.
No?
Nah. When you hear them, you won't think Spinal Tap.
Yeah, I know, but they took the name.
They didn't copyright it.
These amps go to 11.
Yeah. That would be one more than 10.
Well, it's one more, isn't it?
Yeah. That's obviously better.
Well, I think this is something that Dr. Faber probably knows a little bit about.
All right.
This comes from the Amps to 11 release, self-titled. Mm-hmm. And this is called Dirty Handshakes.
All right.
All right. It's Amps to 11 exclusively here
On your classic metal show.